Let's go.
Unstoppable kick-ass confidence. Are you ready?
Welcome to the Raw and Unscripted show with Christopher Rausch, where we help you overcome your self-created crap without the self-help fluffy bullshit. Now please welcome our host, Christopher Rausch.
And please welcome Christopher Rausch. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, rock stars of the Kick-Ass Nation? I am Christopher Rausch, your No Excuses coach, and I'm here to rock your life, to help you ditch your excuses, ditch your tolerations, and have an amazing life, fulfilling your legacy. We are live here every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and I'm excited to let you know that this is a recording, but this is a special recording because guess what? I'm on vacation. And instead of just doing a replay, I decided to do something extra special for you guys tonight. What is going to be this show are actually clips of all the best episodes over the last couple of months. So I took the last 4 episodes that rank the highest in my podcast listing. Thank you very much for being in 27 plus countries. And what I did is I took all the snippets from those shows, and I usually do about 10 snippets from a show. And what I did is I created a special broadcast for you guys. So these are all the best tips, all the best segments of the last 4 shows. So you can sit there and get the best of the best. I'm doing this as a special gift for you because I am on vacation. I am camping right now, enjoying my family, enjoying the beautiful weather up in Central California. But I didn't want to just give you guys a replay. I took some extra special care and some consideration. I'm not a professional editor or videographer or anything like that. So they are short snippets, but what they're going to do is they're going to give you the best of the best so that you guys can take notes and then take action. So here's what I want you to do. Here's your homework assignment. I'm about to play these clips for you. So I want you to write down some of the best strategies that you find from these clips and start playing them out in your life each and every day for the next 7 days until I come back for the next episode next week. And then what I would love for you to do is send me an email, info@noexcusescoach.com, and let me know which of these episodes that you love the most. And by the way, if you're listening to this on the video portion of this podcast and in the show notes, I have put the links to the shows and also the titles of the shows. So if you hear a particular clip that you really dig, you can go back into the show notes and go, oh, that probably was from the procrastination episode. Oh, that was probably from the relationships episode. And I've got those links in there. You can go check out the full entire conversations, because to be honest with you guys, and I know you listen to these, every episode is chock full of amazing tips and opportunities for you guys to further get outside of your comfort zone and truly live your purpose and your legacy. Because I know some people are existing in life and they're hoping, wishing, and praying that someday they're going to get out of this rut and they're going to do something different. But here are the best of the best clips and tips that will help you do that exponentially. I love and appreciate you guys. Please go to noexcusescoach.com. Please check out the YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/Christopher Rausch, RAUSCH. I would love and appreciate if you subscribe to the YouTube channel. I would love and appreciate if you're listening to the podcast for the first time to subscribe to the podcast, whether it's on Spotify or Apple or iHeart or Amazon or any place that you get podcasts. I would love and appreciate your support back in exchange for me supporting you in your life. So here are the best of the best clips, and I will wish you all the best in this endeavor. Enjoy, enjoy, enjoy. Remember, you're only limited by the parameters of your own mind. So thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you soon. Okay, what can I do in this particular moment to shift that energy? What can I do right now that will give me something to be proud of when I wake up in the morning? Because my word for the year, I always have a word for the year. Mm-hmm. This year, my word is pride. So how can I have a sense of pride today so that when I wake up tomorrow, I'm going to be proud of something? So when I go to bed tonight, my nightly ritual is that I think back upon the day and I think, what am I most proud of? I'm proud that I had an amazing conversation with Kari. I'm proud that I gave a free coaching session to somebody earlier today and it woke them up. I'm proud that I was in the moment with my son where he did something extremely frustrating and I didn't lose my shit. I'm grateful that I went through all those adverse experiences because it made me the man I am today, because I chose not to be a victim of it. I chose to rise above it. I chose to go back and get my GED. I chose to go spend 12 years and miss my 20s going to college and getting my master's degree. I chose to bust my ass and to become financially independent. I chose to use my story of being homeless and digging through dumpsters and trying to kill myself to help other people like yourselves have this moment we're having right now. I chose those things, and because I got to experience those challenges and adversities, it helped me become a better person. So wherever you're at in your life and your story, start changing the things that you're saying to yourself. Start changing your beliefs. Get people in your life that support you. When you get done with something and you realize that you are the priority, right? You are the priority. And when you make those decisions for yourself, you give that better version to your kids and to your husband and to your wife and to your friends and to your family. Because I'll set this example, then I'm going to grab some of these comments, and I have a question for you. Is I asked somebody this recently. They came to me for coaching, and I said, we were going through the same kind of conversation. And I said, who do you love most in your life? And they said, my kids. And I said, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you love your kids? And of course she said 10. Yeah. And I said, okay. I said, how are you treating yourself? What is your self-talk? What is your self-love care? What is all that? And she goes, oh my God. She goes, it's like a 4 or 5. And I said, so you say you love your kids and your kids at a 10. I said, but you're at a 4 or 5. I said, what are you honestly giving your kids? Are you giving your kids a 10 or are you giving your kids a 4 or 5? She started bawling. 1% growth every single day. I'm not the same person I was yesterday, and I'm not going to be the same person tomorrow that I am today, because I focus on my personal growth. Today, I was just reading a book. Wow, reading a book. Imagine that. But what I was doing, I was reading a book and I was taking things and putting them on my sticky notes, and I put the sticky notes on my computer monitor as a reminder to continue that growth process. So oftentimes we get overwhelmed. We get burdened by everything that's going on here every single day. Chris, I'm doing the best I can. I feel overwhelmed. Well, here's the thing we got to do. We got to sit there and take that intentional action every single day, that 1% growth that will allow us to become a different version of ourselves in 3 months, 6 months to a year. I'm huge about questions. I believe that questions have the power to unlock so much within ourselves and with our coaching clients. What are some of your favorite questions to ask yourself or to ask your coaching clients to ignite a different perspective? Because I believe that when you shift your perspective about something, everything else can become a domino effect and change. What are some great questions that we can give to our listeners right now that can help them perhaps get unstuck or look at something a little bit differently?
I think the first question I always ask myself is, what do I need to get out of this situation?
Love it.
And what do I need emotionally? What do I need? What do I need out of this? What's going to best serve me? And then that helps me take that first step into action. If I need A, then I better take whatever choice gets me to path A. If I need B, then I better make that choice. Right?
That you deserve abundance and opportunities in your life, that just because your life was fucked up and just because other people told you that you were this and that doesn't make it true. It does not make it true. Your parents or anybody else hurt people. For me to understand, the biggest person in my life that caused me a lot of pain and a lot of harm was my mother. As you guys may or may not know, I didn't talk about it tonight, but it's justyoumandmekid.com. If you go to itsjustyoumandmekid.com, my memoir will be out later this year. And it's all about my situations of being homeless and going through those adverse situations with my mom. And I had a lot of anger and resentment towards her. And she used to tell me, I'm 4 years old. I'm 4 years old. She would say that to me as a grown ass woman. And I'm like, Mom, you're a fucking adult. Start acting like it.
Sometimes it wasn't always great growth, because like you said, right, you start to internalize, like, oh, if I act this way, then this person, but it all shaped me. And it's all like, I can look back at things now and say that really sucked, but wow, here's what I've learned since then. And I can look back on it now and say, this is how I'm different now from then. And so when this comes up again, this is how I'm going to face it differently.
Mm-hmm. It's so true.
And all of this while a relationship that I was in was coming to an end. And I just kind of sat back and was like, I'm kind of done letting life happen to me. I just went, I'm kind of just done waiting for the next thing to happen to me. I need to take action on it. And I didn't know what that looked like. I jumped headfirst out of teaching into coaching and into this online space and doing all this. And it's been hard, but damn, have I learned a lot.
Amen. And I tell people that same thing. So many times people tell me every single day, Chris, it's going to be hard. Yeah. But I tell them but it's going to be fucking worth it. For a long time, I had a sticky note up there that says, what has happened and what is happening is preparing you for what's next. Because I was very frustrated at the results I was not seeing. But then I reminded myself that everything has happened in life in a perfect amount of time and where it should be. And so I want you guys to do that. If you're having relationship issues, put down a few notes that are from this broadcast tonight. And I promise you, as you continue to apply them, you're going to see people switch, and you're going to see some people get pissed off and go, who are you? And what do you think you're doing? And da, 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 da. And that's going to be a point where you're going to have to think about your values and your boundaries and your tolerations. I tolerate this person. How many people do you have in your life that you tolerate? That's a whole other conversation that we could talk about, but I'm going to stick to the show tonight. We get buried down, and it's like one little thing. And guess what? Was that the phrase, the straw that broke the camel's back? The straw didn't break the camel's back. All the other shit broke the camel's back. That straw was just the last thing. And so I implore you, do not get to the point where that's your last thing, because that's your responsibility. And if you sit there and say, these people did this to me, fuck off. You're wrong. You allowed it. You're allowing it right now. If your kids are old enough to do their own laundry, or to bring the laundry down, or to sort the laundry, or to put the laundry away, then you need to fucking stand up and say, listen, I'm not going to tolerate this anymore. You need to put your laundry away. If you don't put your laundry away, I'm just going to put it in your room and you can figure it out for yourself. You got to hold people accountable. You got to hold people responsible. You have to make sure that they understand the expectation. You're building the future for these kids. I mean, I know for me, when I have Jock and I have Lee and I have Walt and I have all these different people holding me accountable, like, Chris, you said your book was going to be out. Where's your fucking book? What are the next 3 things you need to do, Chris, in order to get that book done? Okay, I need to get an editor. Okay, now I'm securing an editor this week, because I know I told you guys my book was going to be out last year. It's a long fucking story. So hold me accountable, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to reach out to me next month and go, Chris, did you get that editor? Right? When you have people that care about you, they're going to check in on you and say, hey, you said your book was going to be done. What's going on? So the value of accountability partner is amazing, because let me ask you this. Let me think of how I got to say this. Are you honest with your best friend? And I asked this question. I've asked this question on social media a couple of times, and so many people come back and say, not completely. I'm like, okay, if they're your best friend, you should be able to be honest with them. And they say, do I look fat in these jeans? Yeah, you kind of do. You know what? Let's go for a walk. Hey, let's stop eating sugar together. How do I do that? It can't always be about me. I'm going to talk about a concept here in a second, but that seek first to understand, then to be understood. My mother never did that. She was always, I have to be understood. So when you seek first to understand, and then you really are genuinely interested in that person, it's amazing what can happen. Because what do we all want? We all want to be understood. I know for me, being misunderstood is one of the biggest things that irritates me and disappoints me and frustrates me and depresses me in my life. To have people think a certain way about me without knowing me, without finding out more information about why I said something or why I do something, because there might have been another meaning behind it. But what is my body language saying? I'm not making you a priority. So when you're having conversations with people, ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, look at them in the eye. Make eye contact. The connection to the soul is through the eyes. Make eye contact, lean forward, show you're interested, have open body language. If you're sitting there like this, like, yeah, are you done? Yeah. Okay. I'm looking at my watch. I'm looking at my phone, blah, blah, blah. I could care less about what you're saying. The simple act of just saying, let me put this phone down right now. I want to make sure I pay attention to what you're saying, because I know what you're saying is important. I want to give you my full attention. Say that. I'd love for you guys all to do this and then come back and report to me. Here's a coaching assignment for you guys. I didn't even give this in the coaching group last night. So the people in my coaching group that are watching this right now, here's another one to add to the list. Sit down with your partner. Sit down with your partner, whoever might be in your life, and say, I'd like to know the top 5 expectations you have for me. What are the top 5 expectations for you? I did this with my wife years ago. We went out to dinner. I did it in neutral territory. That's another thing I highly suggest is, if you're going to have a challenging conversation, do it in neutral territory. Go out to dinner, go to a park, go to the beach, go for a walk, go for a bike ride, go do something where you're not in the house, not where there's all sorts of things that can distract you or things that can trigger you or memories that can do that. Go out to a place. And I sat there and asked my wife, I said, what are your biggest expectations for me? And guess what I found out? There was 3 or 4 expectations that I did not realize she had for me. And one of them wasn't even realistic. So I had the opportunity to say, okay, can you give me some examples of how I can do that and how I can do that without, burning myself out or because it's not innately who I am. So one of the biggest things that I've learned in my life in relationships is this, and it was said by Stephen Covey in The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you need to read. You should be reading a book a month. You should be really investing in yourself to learn more about yourself, more about your discombobulations, the people that you're living with. If they have ADHD, if they have depression, if they have whatever it might be, you should be investing your time and energy to be able to find out more about them. when you're operating in that high frequency and you're taking care of yourself and you're loving yourself, and ladies and gentlemen, for fucking sake, it's not being selfish. And if people are in your life that say, you're being selfish, you used to do this for me, you used to do that for me. Yeah, that was a different version of me, ladies and gentlemen. And now I'm going to choose to take care of myself. I'm choosing to pour into myself, and I'm going to choose to surround myself with the people who are going to be there with me when I fall down. And they're going to help me pick me up. They're not going to sit there and say, well, you used to do this and you used to do this, and now you don't do it anymore, so I don't like you. I'm paraphrasing, but ladies and gentlemen, it really is a critical component. So Nancy, I'm glad you kicked us off with that, because it is so important. So the 5 things, right? And you heard me talk about this again, but I'm going to beat it into your brain because I still talk to people this day. And I'm like, how's your hydration? Someday when the kids are out of the house, someday when my ex-husband is not an asshole, someday when I have time to go to school, someday. And guess what? Every single day becomes every single week, and every single week becomes every single month, and every single month becomes a year. And then those years fly by, and then we look back on our life when we're in our 50s and 60s and 70s, and we realize, oh, wow, I don't have a lot of time left. Right. And if you guys have listened to me for any length of time, you guys know that my legacy is all about the fact that when I die, I want to be remembered as the guy who risked for which that mattered, the guy who left the earth a better place for who he was and what he did. And so I think about that every single day when I wake up, and I set my intention for the day to make that powerful impact. Because when you have a big enough why, you have a big enough how. And when you realize that your time here is infinite, is not infinite, that it's very minimal, that can cause you to take that action. So how do you keep the word, your promise to yourself? Get up every single day. You heard me talk about it, the 5: hydration, nutrition, sleep, exercise, and vitamin D. Every single day, half your body weight in ounces of water. This alone will change how you feel. And when you start to feel differently, you start to do better. Like, oh my God, I feel so much better. I want to eat some vegetables and some fruits. I want to pour into myself because the clarity that I'm starting to get is better. I'm going to go out and get some exercise. I'm going to get some vitamin D, 10 minutes of sun every single day. That helps stave off depression. For me, I have to take a vitamin D supplement. I found out that when I took a vitamin deficiency test, I needed that. So when I started taking it, I started feeling even better. So when you empower yourself with this, when you empower yourself with a positive self-talk and you get the right people in your life, you will stop procrastinating. So if you came into the show halfway through, go back and check it out from the start. It's powerful. There's a lot of opportunities and a lot of strategies in here for you to change your life. And I'm here to help. And here's another thing I'm going to tell you that maybe you haven't thought of in a while, but I'm going to tell you this, and it comes with love and honesty to the nth degree, but you're going to die. We're all going to die one day, but guess what? Right now, we get the opportunity to live. We get the opportunity to make decisions and choices every single day that can build a legacy. Last week, I had a dear friend of mine, pass away suddenly. And it really rocked me to my core because it reminds me personally, Chris, the guy that's talking to you guys, it reminds me that the time that we get here is really small. We think that we're going to live forever, especially if we're under 50. We think, oh, I've got so much time. I've got decades and I've got all this time. And we play the someday game with ourselves, right? Have you guys done that? Oh, someday when the kids are out of the house, someday when my ex-husband is not an asshole, someday when I have time to go to school, someday. And guess what?
You can go after the things that light you on fire and you're really excited about. And by doing those things, you're going to live your life in a way that 99.9% of the world just doesn't.
Yeah.
When you do, people are going to start asking you, how are you so happy? God, you seem so free. I feel like I can tell you anything. Oh my God. I just want to be able to just go into a room and light up the room like you. I can't believe you always got a smile on your face. How do you do that? If you believe 100% unequivocally it's going to happen, you're going to take the messy, hard action and you're going to keep grinding on it. As you believe, you take more action, you get more results. It's a difference between living in quiet desperation where you don't take any and living a life where everything is on rocket fuel when you do take that action. So action creates results, which creates belief. You just have to have enough gumption and courage at the beginning to say, you know what? The things that have sharpened us, the things that in hindsight you realize have made you stronger, more resilient, better, even have made you who you are. And when you love yourself, you realize it's all because of these experiences, even the most negative ones. But those experiences, that test that turned into a testimony, that mess that turned into a message, those experiences in life are actually made to help people grow themselves. And when you realize that, you stop fearing the judgment of the one that's going to talk to you. And you start focusing on the one that's waiting for you to tell their story, that doesn't need to hear Chris's story. They don't need to hear Walt's story. They don't need to hear anybody else's story on here. They need to hear your story, and your story is going to be the one that reaches them in their soul and changes their life. I don't know if I really have the skills yet, but I'm going to try anyway. I'm going to take some of this action, and you will create some results, and then celebrate the results, man. As you celebrate the results, you're going to be like, well, I can do that again. Take action again. And next thing you know, you go from having a podcast, maybe where the first couple episodes were rough, to being as smooth as you are now on your podcast and really being an exceptional host. I think when you can change that narrative in your mind, and then you have to find the courage to take some action, your life will change. That's the choice you have. And choose your heart. Live your life in quiet desperation and struggle your whole life and never meet your goals, and be a contributor to the 5 regrets of the dying book that you talk about all the time.
All the time.
About what you wish you would have did, but you never did.
Here's the 5. I'll leave you with this, guys. If you're new to the show, if you're not new to the show, you guys know I beat this into your brain every single day. Chris, I don't have any money. I don't have, whatever your excuses are, you can do these 5 things. Okay. Hydration, nutrition, sleep, exercise, and vitamin D. Hydration, nutrition, sleep, exercise, and vitamin D. Guess what? Hydration, half your body's like 70, 80% water. If you're not drinking good old fashioned H2O every single day, and you're drinking coffee and soda, you're dehydrating yourself, and you're not operating at your optimal efficiency. Guess what? You start feeling a little bit better.
Because she had this obsession with being perfect.
Yeah.
And so for her, this exercise is basically symbols on a piece of paper. Halfway down, she would start freaking out, because she was so worried about making mistakes. But I give her credit, she kept practicing. And then she wanted to stop because she didn't have excuses anymore. She couldn't say, I'm overwhelmed, I can't get it done, because she was getting it done.
Excuses be gone. Or is it just like, I got to do this for 3 months and then I'll be cured?
No, that's a good question. I get that asked a lot, because the type of stimulation we're going to actually is permanent, which is kind of cool. So
kind of cool. That's fucking badass.
Oh, yeah, no, it's really cool, right? I mean, imagine if you could lift weights once in your life and you'd never lose it, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, exactly. No, these changes are permanent. And that's amazing to me. I got a call from a Marine I trained 10 years ago. And he just called me to let me know that he was still doing the exercises. He'd been through some rough times in his life, but he felt that whenever things were closing in on him, he'd do the exercises. He opened up his space. He was fine.
Is it possible that by implementing John's method that you can start to rewire some of your beliefs? Is it possible that if you decide now that you're willing to get comfortable getting uncomfortable, that things in your life can start to shift, right? And I hear so many people say, Chris, but it's going to be hard. It's going to take so much time. Yes, I'm not going to lie to you. You are 35 years old. You are 45 years old. You're 65 years old. You're 27 years old. Wherever you're at in your life, you have to understand it has taken this many years, this many decades, this much whatever to get you where you're at today. But the point is that you're here today. Yesterday is all just electrical impulses in your brain. You can't physically find yesterday. It does not exist. It's your truth about the past that is what's fucking you up.
Well, what you're talking about is pretty fascinating. But where you actually, because what you're doing is you're training your brain to visualize what's there, right? Mm-hmm. And then that's through repetition, that's going to become easier and easier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've actually learned to trick my brain. I can't, like, if I sit there, the test I use for myself if I'm progressing is, can I see a 57 Chevy? Like, I know a 57 Chevy has the silver wing on the back. I know there's lines on there. I know the symbol. But I have to quickly explain it to my brain to visualize it, if that makes sense. Yeah. So like, I can't just close my eyes and see a 57 Chevy. But if I tell my brain what's involved in it, I can piece it together where I could see a momentary picture of it. Does that make sense? So each and every day I live on purpose. I live with intention. I live with clarity of who it is that I want to be remembered for. And I make sure that every single day I do something to support that legacy. I thought about my legacy and I started working backwards. And that's what I do every single day when I wake up, is I sit there and envision today, how can I use my words and my actions to make this world a better place? What can I do? What can I do?
You're going to change your life, and they're going to see the difference in you. And that's part of it. But nobody's perfect.
The difference between excellence and perfection.
Excellence is your best effort. You're doing the best you can, and you're being excellent at it. And you're ready. It's like saying, like, I'm not competing about, I'm not trying to be better than anybody else. I'm trying to be better than I used to be. Right? That's the mindset. And that's excellence, Trey. You keep getting better. And, you don't have to worry about perfection.
Because you're going to make me ask one of my favorite questions. What would it feel like, ladies and gentlemen, if you just did this? Oh my God, I let go of it. I let go of the pain and the anguish, and I let go of all the resentment and the anger that I've been carrying around my entire life. The possibility is there, but the possibility is not there if you sit there and you tell yourself you can't or you won't, right? 3 words I want you to eliminate from your vocabulary. Try. Don't say you're trying. Say, you know what? Fuck trying. I'm going to do it. I'm going to commit. I'm going to make a promise to myself, and I'm going to keep it. How about that, ladies and gentlemen? Is that something you can do? Hey, I'm going to lose 10 pounds.
Right. If you're trying to measure your progress by, oh my goodness, I'm not going to get there. I'm not going to get there. You turn around and you look at how far you've come. It's very encouraging. Right. And I think that really is a first step, just to acknowledge, take a deep breath, and acknowledge how far you've come, how much effort it took. Right. And know that if you're willing to put that effort in again, you're going to keep going.
I love that. I love that. How do people, the big thing that I work on with people, I was just doing this last week with somebody who had been through a ton of trauma. I mean, I thought my story was terrible.
How on earth can a dumbbell make you stronger? Well, it's how you use it.
Right.
And so every symbol requires a decision. And when you start to make decisions over and over again, you're training your brain in executive function. And when you make them gradually harder, and designed to bring in more parts of your brain, you're just making more connections throughout your brain. And the cool thing is, Chris, is that we all have a different starting makeup of our cognitive skills.
Sure.
But when we train all of them this way, the weaker ones get stronger, and the strong ones also get stronger because they don't have to compensate for the weaker ones. And for people with physical damage like concussions or dementia, our brains will rewire around the damage because we're not trying to fix anything. We're not targeting any part of the brain.
Hey guys, welcome back. Those were the best of the best clips from the last 4 episodes. And just in case here, I'm just going to let you know what they are. So the first one is the episode with Kari Hurd. It's episode number 271. That was done on July 9th. Those are the first set of clips. The second set of clips was a solo show. It's solo show number 262. So her show was 271, if you're looking at this on the podcast. The next show is episode 262. That is a solo show that I did all about relationships and communication. The third one is episode 268, and that one I had my buddy Walt McKinley join me. It wasn't really planned that he was going to join me, but he was actually watching live, and he went ahead and joined me, and that one was all talking about procrastination. So that was the third set of clips. And then the fourth one was a guest that I had named John Kennedy, and that was episode 265. So in order, that's what they were. And if you dig it and you didn't get the chance to hear those episodes or listen or watch those episodes when they originally aired, you can go back and you can check this out in the show notes. I'll make sure the links are in there. But thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you. Make sure you take time for yourself like I'm taking time for myself. And we'll be back here again next week. And guess what? Next week will be August 13th, and it's going to be a solo show. So if you want, send me an email, info@noexcusescoach.com. Let me know if you have some questions for me about life, relationships, whatever it might be, and I'll be happy to answer those questions live on the air so you can get value out of that. Otherwise, most likely I'll be creating a special episode where perhaps I'll take some interesting situations that my coaching clients are facing right now, and I'll coach you as though you were the client through those situations so you can get maximum value here on the Raw and Unscripted show. So make sure you go to rawandunscripted.com, rawandunscripted.com. Make sure you go to noexcusescoach.com and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/Christopher Rausch, RAUSCH. I would love and appreciate it. And make sure you apply these tips. So take some of the strategies that we just talked about in these tips and these clips and apply them in your life. And also do me a solid by sharing this episode out. Share it with a couple of friends. Send them a message and say, hey, check out this episode. This is a badass podcast that gets me to think differently about my past, present, and my future, that gets me to ditch my excuses and my tolerations in favor of creating my legacy that I don't have any regrets in this life. So I will see you here next week, August 13th. And you guys have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day.